Was that a little bit over the top? Okay, look, this video is not going to be as epic as that intro. Let's get that out of the way. Nonetheless, what I want to discuss today is related to Harris Sultan's criticism of Muhammad Hijab's disrespect of apostate prophet's wife. If you didn't follow this online soap opera, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't bother. Just like the video and leave. Now, for the many of you who do know what I'm talking about, I think Hijab's point was that atheists like apostate prophet feel that they have the right to insult the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because that's part of their freedom of speech and their freedom of expression. So Muhammad Hijab was basically like, okay, let me disrespect your wife or let me insult your wife, and then let's see how strong of a proponent of free speech and free expression you are. Let's see how much you appreciate when someone who is beloved to you is insulted or disrespected. Well, not only did apostate prophet and his atheist friends react very angrily to what Muhammad Hijab did, but they also began this campaign of dog whistling about how Hijab might pose this dangerous, violent threat to society. In fact, they went beyond dog whistling to actually contacting authorities in the UK to warn them of his radicalism. Now remember folks, this charge of radicalism is due to the fact that he was disrespectful towards one of these atheists' wives. So what happened to free speech? What happened to freedom of expression? Harris Sultan was one of those atheists that did both. He criticized Hijab's behavior very harshly, and he did a lot of dog whistling.
But sad part is, I have a strong feeling, now we did email some people in England, some authorities in England, that this guy is on the verge of breakdown. I have a feeling he might end up doing something. He might end up hurting someone. Some innocent bystander, some ex-Muslim, or maybe not ex-Muslim, some poor white person. He might end up hurting someone. So I'm really worried. I'm really worried that he might end up doing something really stupid and it might end up harming someone. So we have emailed some people. Gonna hurt someone, gonna harm someone. I genuinely believe that. Again, the way you're reacting, I think you won't be able to leave Britain either. You won't be able to go to other countries. You know, we can actually go a lot lower than what he's doing. But they haven't done any of that. The kind of language that he's using, sexually repressive, messed up kind of language he's using.
This is called dog whistling. I don't think he'll be able to go to other countries. In other words, he shouldn't be allowed to go to other countries. So they don't want this popular Muslim debater to go to the US, to go to Australia, to go to Canada and have debates the kind he had with David Wood, which just didn't go very well for David Wood. So this dog whistling amounts to indirect threats to basically get Muhammad Hijab arrested or in some other kind of legal trouble with the authorities, all in an effort to suppress his freedom of speech. I want to focus in on Harris Sultan joining that chorus of condemnation of hijab's behavior, and we will see that Harris makes it pretty clear in a couple of his videos that this kind of behavior is not to be condoned.
He's tweeting constantly about apostate prophet, about Abdullah Samir and his wife, and Abdullah Gondal and his wife. He's abusing, cursing the wives of infidels. That is some of his tweets where he's just posting photos of Abdullah Samir and his missus. The apostate prophet did the same with Abdullah Gondal as well.
Look, I just want to say, even though I don't like him, Harris Sultan is basically right about not dragging other people's wives or mothers into this. I want to be clear that I don't approve of or condone dragging anyone's sister or mother into this. The general rule is leave people's sisters and wives alone. Harris Sultan and I both agree.
I would respect your wife or your sister or your mother just as much as I would respect any other human being, because they're human beings. They're not women or men. It's not that issue. It's an issue of humanity. See, your religion couldn't have that.
But here's the problem. As usual, Harris Sultan is not consistent in holding to even his own principles and values. I want to bring your attention to this video by Harris Sultan, which he called Mufti Looking for a Wife. Or alternatively, on the thumbnail of the video, it's called Mufti Looking for Another Wife. In this video that Harris made, he discusses the case of one Sana Khan, who was an actress, a Muslim actress in the Indian film industry, who left the film industry in order to live a more devout, a more religiously devout life. Last month, she started wearing the hijab and she married an Islamic religious cleric, Maulana Anas Syed. In a friendly and encouraging response to this, Mufti Tariq Masood, who is a Pakistan-based Mufti or Islamic scholar, who is very well liked by the youth there and who is known for his sense of humor, after encouraging Sana Khan on her decision, after encouraging her on her new path in life, he made a small joke and he said that for any other ladies in the film industry who are thinking of leaving the film industry and becoming more religious and wanting to get married, I just want you to know that there's lots of other muftis, especially here in Pakistan. We've got plenty of Islamic scholars. We've got plenty of muftis here. In other words, hey, I am available. I want the ladies to know. Now, listen to Harris Sultan's comments about Mufti Tariq Masood's comments.
so that was the hard part. It's like, damn it, I just missed it. Damn, that Mufti guy, he got it. He's like, oh man. So that's pretty clever, like it's funny. I like the guy. He can be really funny sometimes. And it's like, but this is a big loss. There's a big miss. Like the kind of women that he would probably get. We can all imagine. Probably when he lifts the burqa for the first time. Oh, okay.
Okay, so although Harris Sultan tells us that we shouldn't insult other people's wives, he just insulted the wives of Mufti Tariq Masood by calling them ugly. But if it's low, morally deplorable behavior to insult other people's wives, as he said before, then why is it okay to insult believing Muslim women? Shouldn't it apply to religiously observant Muslim women who observe the burqa, the niqab face veil? Or are they not human beings? Who is dehumanizing people now? Which side is dehumanizing people now? Shouldn't Muslim women and face veils be able to feel safe from such nasty comments, which are obviously aimed at shaming them?
It just doesn't work that way.
As you put it earlier, isn't this a question of respect for humanity? Treating every person with respect because they're a human being? Apparently not. What makes this even more ridiculous and hypocritical is that Harris Sultan, on a number of occasions in his videos, has specifically criticized Pakistani and Egyptian Muslim men for harassing not only Muslim women who are not properly Islamically dressed, but harassing even women who are dressed in the full Islamic burqa or niqab or face veil.
हमारे यहाँ पे पाकिस्तान में अगर कोई लड़की थोड़ा सा मेकअप का बल्कि बुरके वाली को भी नहीं छोड़ते, वो आंखों से रेप कर रहे हो.
When you go through the streets of Pakistan, even if you're wearing full shalwar kameez, fully traditional clothes, men there just stare at you. They just stare at you as though they've never seen a woman before.
Unfortunately, this observation is true to some extent. Even women who are dressed in the complete burqa and niqab, we have to acknowledge, can sometimes be harassed in the streets of Egypt, Pakistan, or maybe elsewhere, as also happens in the non-Muslim West all the time. We have those stories and testimonials as well. Now, why this happens, why this is not the subject of this video. But we can agree with Harris Sultan that some men out there, some Egyptian men, some Pakistani men, very few, can be so depraved, can be so perverted, can be so shameless that even a woman who is observing the most strict and conservative of attire will not deter such shameless men from bad behavior, such as verbal harassment in the form of nasty comments and insults for the purpose of public shaming. Exactly what you just did right now.
The kind of women that he would probably get, we can all imagine. Probably when he lifts the burqa for the first time.
So unfortunately, it is true. Yes, it is true. Sadly, that some of our niqabi sisters are not safe from the insults and taunts of some shameless men. Men for whom no barrier will prevent them from disrespecting women.
Probably when he lifts the burqa for the first time.
Especially those women whose life choices they don't agree with. So when he's interviewing a non-Muslim lady like Mahlij Sarkari, who posed half nude in the Toronto Sun, who posts videos of herself being drunk, he shows her the utmost respect. He's a complete gentleman. But our sisters in niqab, i.e. the wives of Mufti Tariq Masood, well, they're fair game for his vicious insults.
Probably when he lifts the burqa for the first time.
This is the same guy who goes on and on and on about double standards and about munafiqiyat, nifaq or hypocrisy. So what are you, Harris? Are you displaying munafiqiyat? Are you displaying hypocrisy? According to your own worldview, according to your principles, according to your ideals and standards, are you a consistent, honest, decent guy? Or are you someone displaying munafiqiyat? Are you a hypocrite? What do you think you are? A principled guy with consistent standards? Now here's a serious question for you, Harris. If a Muslim woman took off her hijab, took off her niqab or burqa, left Islam and became a secular atheist like you, can you guarantee that she will never ever be insulted, taunted, verbally or even physically harassed by a secular atheist man? Can you give us that guarantee? If you can, then maybe that's at least one reason that a Muslim woman should at least consider taking off the niqab and the hijab and joining secular atheist society, hanging out with secular atheists instead of Muslims. Can you give us that guarantee? In the same way, unfortunately, I can't guarantee a Muslim woman who puts on the hijab or the niqab that she will never ever be insulted or that she will never ever be harassed on the streets of a Muslim country by a Muslim man. A misguided Muslim man, of course. Islam doesn't even allow a man to touch, like skin to skin contact, touch the hand of a woman that he's not related to. In fact, it commands us to lower our gaze. To lower our gaze when we come across non-related members of the opposite gender. So how are you going to blame this one on Islam? How are you going to pin this on Islam? I don't get it. Throwing all of this on Islam is a major stretch of the facts. Anyways, let's look at the next clip.
I have Mr. Mufti, I have actually a suggestion for you. I found a girl for you. There's another actress, glamorous woman, glamorous woman. She's also she's actually left her her movie career as well, and she wants to dedicate the rest of her life to Islam. I don't know if she's into guys with beards or not, or she will go that far as that Sana Khan girl, but there is a bit of an opening. There's the vacancy that you talked about, the plenty of other scholars available, the message that you were trying to get. This is the woman that you probably want to, spend, next few months or a few weeks of your efforts on, because you already have 4 wives. I think this guy already has 4 wives, if not 4, maybe 3, definitely 3. I'm not sure about 4th one. So if you're looking, 4th one, there it is. So have a look at this actress. She's a Pakistani actress, Zainab Jamil, she's quit showbiz for Islam. I am proud to announce that I have quit acting and modeling. I will now live my life according to Islamic teaching and get more knowledge about the religion of Islam and bang a lot of muftis. Possibly marry a mufti.
I thought Harris Sultan and all the ex-Muslims that he interviews have always stood up against the public shaming of people and especially women due to their life choices. Ex-Muslims, you preach to us about your principles. You tell us that you're against such insults, taunting, social pressure, public shaming of people simply because they're acting according to their conscience. You tell us this.
I will now live my life according to Islamic teaching and get more knowledge about the religion of Islam and bang a lot of muftis.
I thought ex-Muslims denounced and decried the practice of abusing, reviling, and public shaming of people for their personal life decisions when they don't harm anybody else. Does this mean that you only show respect to women when they leave Islam and become ex-Muslims? If you're only going to show respect to women when it's self-serving and when it's on your terms, well, two can play that game. What right do you have for criticizing anyone, Muslim, non-Muslim, doesn't matter, for abusing or insulting or taunting anyone's wife? What right do you have?
I will now live my life according to Islamic teaching and get more knowledge about the religion of Islam and bang a lot of muftis.
And Harris, what if these ex-Muslim women, the type that you interview on your channel all the time, that you're such a pleasant gentleman with, that you listen so attentively and courteously to, what if any one of these women were to leave atheism and become an ex-Muslim, as happens all the time? What if one of these ladies that you interviewed were to turn her back on atheism and return back to Islam? Is this the kind of slander and public shaming that they could expect to receive from you? I think it's clear that this is how it is. Sana Khan is not even an ex-Muslim. She was just an irreligious Muslim perhaps, or a nominal Muslim who left the film industry to come back to the practice of her deen. And this is your reaction to her? This is your over-the-top reaction to her, an insult and slander of her? And you're going to point the finger at other people and say they're over-the-top, they're having a meltdown? You, Harris, who present yourself as a white knight, championing women's rights, the right to choose and women's autonomy and all that. This is how you slander the character of a Muslim woman?
I will now live my life according to Islamic teaching and get more knowledge about the religion of Islam and bang a lot of muftis.
All because she decided of her own free will to move in the opposite direction of the direction that you moved in? Because she decided to go up rather than down? You know, one of the main themes that runs throughout all of Harris Sultan's video is this thing about hypocrisy. The hypocrisy of religious people. Well, you, Harris Sultan, are an excellent example of that hypocrisy. In your videos, you discuss how some ex-Muslim women are insulted and slandered by sexually repressed Pakistani Muslim men, sexually depraved Pakistani Muslim men, who you obviously have a particular hatred for. Well, if your assessment of Pakistani men is correct, you seem to fall perfectly into that mold of a sexually depraved, immoral Pakistani man who hatefully uses aspects of women's sexuality and their bodies to belittle and insult them. Ex-Muslim ladies, let me hear you now. Come on out. What do you have to say about this? This is cool? Harris Sultan perfectly falls into that mold, into that caricature of this sexually depraved, sexually repressed, perverted Pakistani man. You can take the man out of Pakistan, but you can't take the Pakistan out of the man. It seems as if despite all of his efforts to the contrary, Harris Sultan still remains Harris Sultan. I want to share with you what my wife said about this. My wife said, think about this. What if this went the other way around? What if some Muslim lady left her husband, divorced her husband, took off her hijab, left Islam and joined the Bollywood film industry? And then I said something like, well, she's going to be banging a lot of directors now. She's going to be banging a lot of film producers now. What would Harris Sultan's reaction to that be? What would your reaction be to that, ex-Muslim ladies? What would you say about that?
It's probably true. Say it louder.
Would you guys not call that out as sexist, misogynistic, oppressive behavior? Would he not call me some sexually repressed and frustrated a-hole that doesn't know how to respect women? And he has the audacity to criticize Muslim clerics. And he's a preacher too. I count him as a preacher too. In all these videos, he's preaching, he's sermonizing, he's pontificating to Muslim men about women's rights and freedom. and respect for women. He's sermonizing and he's preaching, but he doesn't really practice what he's preaching unless it suits him. Sounds like the kind of two-faced hypocrisy that he's denouncing all the time. But when that side does it, oh, come on, man, it's just a joke. Oh, relax, man, dude, it's just a joke. Yeah, then it's just a joke. When you're slandering Muslim women, then it's just a joke. Then it's just funny. Then we should all laugh and like just be cool about it. If it's a secular atheist type who's saying it, who's slandering practicing Muslim women, then we all have to be like cool and chill and relax and just, shrug it off as a joke. No, I'm not shrugging it off. And you wouldn't shrug it off. Atheists, you wouldn't shrug it off if someone said that about your wife, as we saw. Or let me translate that into atheist for most of you. If someone said that about your partner, okay, your girlfriend for the present time. If I said that about your girlfriend, your partner at the present time, you're not just going to shrug it off. If I say something like that about your mother, if I so much as say that your mother is ugly, you're not going to shrug that off. Harris Sultan admits to that. In this video interview with David Wood, Harris Sultan is talking about some Muslims that doxed him and his mother. So they gave out some personal information about his mother, and this allowed people to track his family down. They took some photographs of his mother, and then they started posting like cartoons of her on the internet. This is wrong. Of course, this is wrong. But listen to Harris's response to all of this.
And he made a whole post about it. And then I knew what would happen after that. And then his crowd was just photoshopping my mother, and they were abusing and cursing her and all that. And I'm like, what have I got my mum into? Like that poor woman. She's probably praying right now because she prays 5 times a day. So at that time, I felt exactly like you. I thought, how am I going to teach him? Because at that time it's personal. At that time, you don't care about your rules and morals, and you said, throw everything under the bus. You're coming after my family. If you're in front of me, I don't know what I would do, but it's personal.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's having a meltdown. Sounds like somebody maybe is about to have a mental breakdown to me. Gee, maybe someone should alert or notify Australian authorities out there and let them know that Harris Sultan could end up hurting somebody. I mean, I'm really sincerely worried here. Harris could end up attacking, some innocent brown person out there.
Because, at that time it's personal. At that time, you don't care about your rules and morals, and you said, throw everything under the bus. You're coming after my family. If you're in front of me, I don't know what I would do.
See, this is the type of game that Harris Sultan, apostate prophet, David Wood as well, this is the type of game that they're playing. This is the game that they were playing with Muhammad Hijab. But anyhow, seriously, on a serious note, we say that that's wrong. Your mother doesn't have to pray 5 times a day, Harris Sultan. She doesn't have to pray 5 times a day. She doesn't even have to be a Muslim. We don't approve of her being insulted or slandered or anything like that. But we also disagree with your sentiment, your violent, primitive sentiment that you don't know what you would do if you came across such a person.
If you're in front of me, I don't know what I would do.
At least we disagree with it within the boundaries, the legal boundaries of Australian law. Don't take the law into your own hand, please.
I'm coming to get you.
But then don't do these rants against others for insulting people's wives or mothers either. And then on the other hand, so easily make these off-the-cuff remarks and slanders about Muslim women against the wives of Mufti Tariq Masood. Don't do such vicious, slanderous insults against women like Zainab Jamil, who you said is now going to go around and bang Islamic scholars. She's now going to go and sleep around with Islamic scholars. All because she decided of her own free accord, of her own free will, to leave behind her irreligious life and to attempt to try to now embark on a life of Islamic piety. And by the way, that insult against Zainab Jamil was obviously an indirect swipe at Sana Khan as well, the lady who initially left the Indian film industry, started wearing a hijab, and married an Indian Muslim scholar. Thank you, Harris Sultan, for showing us your true colors, especially to your women guests and future women who might consider coming on your channel. Thank you for showing your true colors to those women and the moral lows that you are capable of falling to.
We can actually go a lot lower than what he's doing.
Well, you proved that. You pontificate to the world. You don't have to be religious in order to pontificate or sermonize. You have a set of ideals, principles, moral standards that you preach about to the entire world. You decry the munafiqiyat of Muslims all the time. And yet, in true hypocritical form, you don't stick even to your own moral standards. You, Harris Sultan, are a secular atheist mullah. I want to end by leaving a message specifically for the women in Harris Sultan's life, whether his relatives, his partner, his professional colleagues, or the women that he has interviewed on his channel. Harris is such a gentleman with you. He's so well spoken. He's so respectful of you and your choice in life. But I want you to understand, had your choice been different, or if you were to reverse your choice one day, if you were to renounce atheism and choose Islam, this time not due to any family pressure, not due to any kind of societal pressure, not due to public shaming, but rather because you wanted to follow Islam, you want to reconnect with your Creator. These are the kinds of vicious insults and slander against your character that potentially await you from Harris Sultan.
Zainab Jamil, she's quit showbiz for Islam. I am proud to announce that I have quit acting and modeling. I will now live my life according to Islamic teaching and get more knowledge about the religion of Islam and bang a lot of muftis.
But tell me I'm wrong here. Tell me I've got him wrong. Tell me I've misunderstood him. This is the attitude and this is the speech that potentially awaits you from the twisted, perverted mind of Harris Sultan.
Sexually repressive, messed up kind of a language he's using.
Just replace Zainab Jamil with your name. Miss X, that's you. Miss X has decided to denounce atheism and to come back to Islam and to bang a lot of muftis, to bang a lot of imams. I mean, he probably wouldn't do that to you if you're not someone big and famous like Zainab Jamil. But this is the attitude, this is the thought pattern, his true and unfiltered feelings that he would now harbor for you if you made a life decision that is different than his. Wow, what a progressive man. Harris Sultan is the man that we can all be. He's the man that I can be if I leave Islam. He's made so much progress above and beyond the primitive religious men that he criticizes all the time. No, sir. You are the secular equivalent of the ranting, intolerant, misogynistic Muslim man that you so zealously oppose and speak out against. In your extreme hate of this caricature of the religious Muslim man, you have become the flip side of that coin. You have become the flip side of that very caricature. Mullah, mullah, mullah.